You see tons of average web series coming out of India every other week, but it is super rare that you see a web series that makes you go, wait a minute, this looks interesting. And the minute you start watching the series has a complete hold on you. Paatal Lok does that, and it does that brilliantly well. Okay, if you don't want to take my word for it, let's see what Anurag Kashyap has to say about Paatal Lok. This is what he had to say. My filmmaker's heart is full of joy. I just saw Paatal Lok, the best crime thriller I've seen to come out of this country in the longest time. Maybe forever. Then he continues, it is not just a great investigative thriller, it comes from the understanding of real India, the dark heart of India, the communal and casteist India. But doesn't judge it, it comes from empathy. It's a game changer for sure. So there it is, believe me now. Alright, keeping Anurag Kashyap's reaction aside, I think it doesn't take a genius to realize that the show is one of the best crime thrillers to have come out since Sacred Games. We'll talk about Sacred Games in a few minutes. For now, let's stick to Paatal Lok. Paatal Lok initially starts off as a very simple and straightforward story of how a group of 4 people get arrested for suspect to murder, and their target was a primetime reporter Sanjeev Mehra, played by Neeraj Kabi. From the very opening of the first episode, there's a dialogue that sticks with you throughout the series. That's the dialogue between Hathiram Chaudhary, played by Jaideep Ahlawat, and his right-hand man Imran Ansari, played by Ishfaq Singh. When they talk about the 3 loks or realms, Hathiram says the whole world is split into 3 different realms. Right on top are the heavens where the angels reside. In the middle there's the earth where the humans reside, and the very bottom is hell, the Paatal Lok, where the devils reside.
C for Chutia.
Quite evidently referring to the upper, middle and low class respectively. This isn't the only time the series dives into ancient Indian scriptures and Hindu mythology to metaphorically explain the current situation of the India we live in. Throughout the series, they dive into various characters of the Hindu mythology to better explain the character traits of the people we're dealing with on screen. There are a number of things that are admirable about Paatal Lok, but the one that stands out for me are the character arcs. Paatal Lok packs a brilliant set of characters who are extremely well written and very well executed. It does justice to each and every protagonist by showing us their necessary backstories to give us an idea about their life choices and their current actions. The series is extremely well written and it explores several themes along the course of the show, but the themes that it tries to dig deep into are social divide, casteism, religion, gender, freedom, and power imbalance. Instead of completely focusing on the crime itself, the show focuses on really understanding the minds of the people trying to carry out the crime, and it does that with a lot of empathy for the criminals. It talks about how the society has a hand in creating a crime and how in turn the society affects people into eventually becoming criminals. Along with beautifully constructed and moving dialogues, the series also has some jaw-dropping scenes that take a minute or two to fully digest. The filmmaking is very detailed as they try to capture the essence of living in different classes, while also trying to put forth the different situations people are put in, the choices they make, and the level of freedom they have.
C for Chutia.
There's one thing that separates this show from any other, and that's their take on Indian journalism. This is probably the first time an Indian show has made such bold comments about the world of journalism in India and the state that it's currently in. But it doesn't do that blatantly. It's very aware of the challenges that a liberal journalist faces in India. So it gives credit where credit is due. Talking about giving credit, I think we can't end this video without talking about the amazing performances on display. If you're not too fond of Indian television, a lot of these might be new faces to you, but I felt everybody did a brilliant job in playing out their characters. I'm just gonna name all the actors who killed it on screen: Ishfaq Singh, Neeraj Kabi, Panag, Niharika Dutt, Swastika Mukherjee, and Jagjit Sandhu. But I think the 2 actors who stood out the most are Jaideep Ahlawat and Abhishek Banerjee. Jaideep Ahlawat plays Hathiram Chaudhary, a cop who is lost in despair and is frustrated with his job. He plays him with great care and does a fabulous job at leading the show and ends up with a performance that is pretty hard to forget. Abhishek Banerjee, on the other hand, plays Vishal Tyagi, a man who is borderline demonic. I feel he absolutely nails the performance despite not having a ton of dialogues. Just his presence on the screen was enough to intimidate the viewer. So now that I've given my reasons for Paatal Lok being one of the best shows to come out of India, there's going to be an obvious and direct comparison of it with Sacred Games. Don't worry, I'm not going to make it a whole Paatal Lok versus Sacred Games scene here, but I'd like to give my 2 cents on it anyway. Although Paatal Lok and Sacred Games both dwell with the nature of crime, I feel they present us with 2 very different point of views. Like I mentioned before, Paatal Lok focuses more on the minds of the people carrying out the crime instead of the crime itself, but if you were to judge them purely on the entertainment factor, I feel Sacred Games still holds on to its crown in that aspect. But nonetheless, Paatal Lok is an extremely refreshing, entertaining and well-written show that will force you to think about a few things after the show has ended. So to end this video, I'd like to thank Anushka Sharma and her brother's production house to bring us this show. I feel it was pretty courageous of her to produce this show despite having some recent bumps on the road as a producer. So a big shout out to Anushka Sharma there, and also a massive shout out to all the writers on the show along with Sudeep Sharma to have done such a brilliant and detailed job with the script. The show was successful at capturing the essence of the real and dark India we live in in today, the gap of freedom and power of people living in different classes and belonging to different castes. The show isn't always a comfortable watch, but that's because of the very real form of storytelling, and let's face it, the truth isn't always comfortable. Paatal Lok is now streaming on Amazon Prime Video. Apart from the underwhelming ending of the show, I feel Paatal Lok ticks every other box to be considered one of the best crime thrillers to come out in the recent times. So I hope you give it a try and enjoy the show. That's it from my end. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and share it with your friends. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, peace.